don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got it!
New 52 book.
Somebody clip this for the woman.
Welcome to Superman Rewatch. I'm Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Infinity Express. What's up, brother?
You know, this two-parter, it was very lame.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So today we are talking about Blast from the Past. Now, here's the interesting thing about this episode. This carries a little anachronism. You may be wondering, Jared, what could that be? So, okay, so the plot of this episode is Superman releases a Kryptonian from the Phantom Zone, and everything is all hunky-dory. So then, this Kryptonian starts off being like a good person. This Kryptonian named Mala. And she's being interviewed by Lame, and then says something, and then Lame says, "Yeah, right, and I'm Wonder Woman." Now, as a reminder, Wonder Woman does not exist in this universe yet. She gets introduced in Justice League.
Yeah, it's just
not bad, but yeah, it's kind of. I get what they were going for, that they're kind of doing a cheeky nod, but still, after seeing Wonder Woman came back, I'm like, did they give Lois Lane the ability to predict the future?
I get this was still kind of early on in like the DCAU's history. Like this was like the second show?
Yeah, it was.
Like this is the first time they'd actually expanded beyond Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So I get why they were unsure of like the rules of their universe, but still, it's kind of one of those like hilarious in hindsight kind of things.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you think about it. But anyway, so you know it's kind of funny. This two-parter basically reminds me a lot of Man of Steel. I mean, Kryptonians are released from the Phantom Zone, and then Superman has a fight with them in the middle of Metropolis. It causes massive destruction.
Jared, I was actually thinking the same thing. Wait. Do you have my favorite Man of Steel moment?
As a clip? I don't think so.
You think you can mess with my mother?
Oh, I don't. I had to clean it. I had to clean up my clips. I'll tell you what. Here's this though.
Not impressed.
Still a good moment. But yeah, it's essentially Man of Steel. I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, wow.
Also, I will say, you know how we watched like Justice League Unlimited first and then this? Like, you know how in Justice League Unlimited there's kind of that moment during the Cadmus arc where Dr. Hamilton betrays them?
Mm-hmm.
And like Superman's like, how could you? Watching this now, it actually kind of makes, I understand that moment better. Because Dr. Hamilton was a huge ally of Superman in the early days. And so for him to betray him like that, it actually does kind of hit pretty hard.
Yeah, it hurts. And yeah, you're right. That is something that's kind of cool, seeing Superman like deal with that. We're kind of, in a way, you know, it's kind of funny. We're basically covering the entire show as a flashback. That's kind of what we're doing there. But the other thing that I really like about this, going back from this episode, is the way in which it is interesting to see how eerily similar this is to Man of Steel, with the Kryptonian fight in the middle of the city. And mind you, no one threw a fit when Superman is like hitting Mala with a car that causes what amounts to a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
So Nick, let's start with this. What are your general thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was pretty good. I like the two-parter aspect of it. Also, I always find it interesting when they introduce like other Kryptonians. It's that whole like, oh, this villain has all the powers of Superman, but none of the morals. What is he going to do?
Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna be a villain. Because they're all. Have you noticed that they're always a villain?
Except when it's a blonde 16-year-old Kryptonian girl.
Yes, who some people actually ship with Batman, believe it or not. Yes, those people exist. I've seen them. But anyway,
I just want to say this. Like, if you want to ship Supergirl and Nightwing, like, I don't agree with it, but at least that makes sense.
Because here's the thing. Here's what this show created, Nick. Here's the legacy of the DC. Here's the negative of the DCAU onto Batman. You ready? What it turned into is it turned everyone into like severe Batman fans to the point where they want him to like seduce every single female. Is to the point where it does in DCAU. So that's why kind of when I look back at the DCAU, I look back at some of the problems with it and the effect it had on the fandom, if you know what I'm talking about.
Like, I do like Playboy Batman. Like for example, I do like when they do the Superman Batman crossover, how he dates Lois. Like that was.
I would
cool.
love if Clark goes, "You can have her."
I can't wait till we review that. We're gonna have so much fun.
Oh, it's gonna be so much lameness getting spread. Oh my gosh.
It's contagious.
Yeah, and so the other thing that I really like is that even we got a little bit more on like Krypton and a little bit more expanding into Kryptonian lore, because that's always something that they don't do a lot in Superman comics, but I always enjoy when they actually, okay, so this is what Krypton was like. This is how scientific they were. This is how kind of as technologically advanced they were kind of backwards too. So I
do find it interesting that this is very clearly Zod, Ursa. Nam.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why didn't they just use those characters? I don't understand.
It is weird, isn't it? Okay, so hang on. Here we go. Although his portrayal in this series is closer to that of General Zod, Zaxxer is in fact an original character from the comics who is a mad Kryptonian scientist. In one of his appearances, his co-engineers with Zod, one of the Superman's, he co-engineers one of Superman's races with the Flash. So Jax-Ur is a character, but yeah, they're doing the Zod thing. That's really funny with that.
No. Did you notice his position? He was a scientist. Jax-Ur in the show was the head of security. Zod position.
It's basically Zod. Yeah, I know. I'm like, okay.
And who was the one who tried to overthrow Krypton?
Zod. And by the way, Mala seems to be an amalgamation of Ursa and Feora. There you go. More with that. Which, when you think about it, it's kind of funny because it's not like there was like an embargo against using that Superman character because you're doing a Superman show. It's not like Batman can't show up, even though he will later. It's odd on that. By the way, again, Lois says, yeah, right, I'm Wonder Woman. The statement is seemingly made inconsistent by the subsequent Justice League series when Wonder Woman does not appear as a hero until the Imperium invasion in Secret Origin. However, this seems to be meant originally as a mythology gag. In similar fashion, Lana Lang referred to Big Susan as an Amazon in My Girl. Yeah, and we talked about that, but still, it's like, in hindsight, it actually opens up a plot hole.
See, all Justice League had to do was to be like, okay, Wonder Woman has been semi-active, but she's been gone for some time. There's plenty of different ways they could have played it and make sense.
Establish that Wonder Woman's mom was Diana's mom was Wonder Woman like during World War II, and then guess what? That's answered because someone would have reported this Amazon fighting the Germans.
Yeah, the problem with that is Wonder Woman is immortal, so there's kind of no need for like a mantle swap for her.
And here's the thing. even if we take into account the Justice League episode later when they go back in time to stop Vandal Savage, no one calls her Wonder Woman in that, so there's no way they would even know who Wonder Woman is.
Yeah, like there might be some stories of, like, for example, the Angel of Verdun, you know, stuff like that, or she might have gotten like some fancy title like the Battle Mistress of the Bulge or whatever. I'm trying to like whatever.
Yeah, it could be any of those, but of course, no, they didn't do. Again, they could have used that to like fill in that plot hole, but I feel like at that point they just didn't care or forgot. Honestly, either of those is accurate.
I'm leaning towards forgot because that's just like a one-off line.
Wonder Woman's mom could have been a figure of mythology in this universe with that name. That's true, Dave. And by the way, hi, Dave. What's up? Because in the comics, Hippolyta was Wonder Woman before Diana.
And the thing, the evidence that I bring up that you don't like me bring up is when Wonder Woman goes to meet Hephaestus, he says, "I designed that armor for your mother." So that Wonder Woman armor was not designed for her. It was designed for his mother, Hippolyta, which, in my opinion, is the DCAU admitting that Hippolyta was Wonder Woman at some point.
At some point, yes. And it's like, it's like even when you see her in the first episode of Justice League, she's very wary about man's world, and she's saying stuff that she would only say if she experienced man's world like firsthand.
So I think Dave might be onto something here, where at some point maybe even during like the Civil War or even during like Greek times, any point during 1,000 years of history, she became kind of like a you know, kind of thing. Like, for example, we still call people traitors Benedict Arnolds, you know, and that was, you know, over 200 years ago. So there could be something like that where she became kind of like a historical figure that everyone knows, kind of thing.
But here's the thing. They should have at least said that in Justice League or like indicated that, because then it's like, it's a plot hole. But again,
to be fair, that's most things in the
forgot.
DCAU. Yeah, that's most things in the DCAU. Like, a lot of the lore of the DCAU requires such lengthy extrapolation. You know they're just flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, it's like the fact that Ms. Martian exists in this universe, a la the Justice League movie, but the Martians were wiped out. The explanation the writer of that movie gave was like, oh, there was a colony of Martians that we wanted to do an episode about, but we never got the chance to. So I'm like, okay, but it doesn't work. That's it. And that is your point. The lore, the background of the DCAU has so many plot holes. Still fun though.
Yeah.
Cameron says, to be frank, what's TBF was an animated just even in production at the moment? No, it wasn't. And also, hey, Cameron, what's up, dude? But yeah, it wasn't.
When this was created, we were about 10 years away from Justice League.
Yeah, similar to how they explained Jon Stewart as being out in space the entire time, as if he was never active on Earth. Yeah, they kind of did that in the movie where they're like, John and Jean are dealing with the Ranthanagar War or something like that. So I'm like, okay, at least you're using DC events there.
Yeah, because when Kyle Rayner appeared, everyone acted like they'd never seen a Green Lantern before. When in Justice League, Jon Stewart was, I guess, the first one, and and I guess Hal technically doesn't exist in the DCAU. I know we got that like timeline thing, but that was just like a
also in that Justice League movie versus the Fatal Five at the Legion's clubhouse, they have statues for Hal and Guy as well.
Wait, Guy does he ever appear in the DCAU?
No, but they have him in there. I'm like, wait a minute here.
What?
This is the occasion when putting in cameos just muddies the water so badly. But I get what they're going for. Here's the thing with the Green Lanterns, seeing as though a lot of them do operate in space exclusively, that's easier to explain that they were just in space this whole time.
They were in space.
Yeah, lost in space. But yeah, exactly. So going back to this episode, I also really like the portrayal of the Phantom Zone, where it's just like black and red hell. It's not even an actual play. It's not. You just float there. It doesn't have platforms like it did in Young Justice.
And I love how you just have conversations with people in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, what's up, Rob? I'm sorry you're in the Phantom Zone." I would love if someone goes, "What is that infernal female voice?" Oh, that's just Lois. Don't worry. She'll be joining you soon. Here's the other thing that really pisses me off.
No one in the DC universe should ever give Jared a Phantom Zone projector, because the first thing is doing, "Hi, Lois! Say hi to the birdie!"
Hey, Steve, I'm going to take your picture.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot you, and then I'm going to take the picture. But the other thing, Nick, here's why I hate the Phantom Zone. Because then it's like, why doesn't Superman do that to all the villains?
Well, I think in the yeah, we got some comments to catch up on, but
yeah, go ahead.
So I think, like we see in the Doomsday episode, it's kind of a last resort kind of thing.
It's still BS. DCAU Kyle Rayner is an amalgamation of Kyle and Hal Jordan. He has Hal's origin and looks like Hal in that episode. Yeah, they did that in a lot of like DCAU stuff where they like amalgamated origins together, which that's fine. It's like Wally basically had Barry Allen's origin in Justice League. So I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. But going back to the Phantom Zone, I'm like, that why doesn't Bruce ever come to Clark and say, "Hey, can you throw the Joker in there?"
Oh God!
There's no way he could escape. Your problems are solved. Just Phantom Zone them.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. There's a very simple reason. Because then they could never use the Joker in a story again.
I know. It's like that one scene in Power Rangers Megaforce where he goes, "Why am I Green Ranger?" There's a very simple explanation for that. Beep, beep, beep. They don't even explain it.
Oh, God. Why do you have to reference that horrible season?
Yeah, exactly. But so all in all, I really enjoyed this episode. And again, I really like the I'm calling it homages to Man of Steel. I know it's not because it's kind of in reverse, but it's very similar to Man of Steel. Yeah, in hindsight, it's an homage to Man of Steel. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. But again, I go back to no one threw a fit when Superman was causing rampant property destruction in that.
I mean, I love the part where she has him in like a headlock and he has to use his I-beams to escape.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think it is, Nick? I think it's because if you do it in live action, it looks more real to people, that they excuse it in animation.
Also, I'm just going to say this. There are so many moments in this episode that look shot for shot like Man of Steel, that I like. It's impossible for you to believe that Zach did not actually watch this two-parter. Like,
or Goyer, because remember, the script was done before Zach came on.
I really do feel like David watched this episode and he lifted moments from this two-parter Hulk off, because there are a lot of moments that are very similar to Man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fine because you want to show homages to that. It makes me all the more happy to like Man of Steel because it homages so much pretty well. I don't recall. Did they establish the Phantom Zone is basically torture in that episode? I don't think so. You just see them floating. If so, that explains it. But here's the thing, Dave. If that's true, why doesn't Superman find a way to house these criminals on Earth and just release them? Because in a way, he's allowing those other prisoners to be tortured then, if it's considered torture. You see why that doesn't work? That's why that whole thing, it's torture. That's why that excuse doesn't work, because then why doesn't Superman free all of them?
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. But anyway, so my general thoughts are I really enjoyed this. By some more trivia, the battle suits of Jack's Earth soldiers are similar in appearance to those later used by Derek Powers' security guards in Batman Beyond. So
I was going to say that. Like, oh my God, I noticed that too. But also, if you notice, you know the villain Shriek?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one of the villains actually uses like a sound-based attack. Very similar to Shriek.
Yeah. According to this episode, although Superman was using the cavern in the North Pole since stolen memories, it is Professor Hamilton who first coins the term Fortress of Solitude.
I don't mind that. I
Yeah,
really,
me
I
neither.
don't mind. Yeah, I don't care. That's fair.
Mm-hmm. Perry insists that the Daily Planet staff find Jax and Mala just before they come into the building is a tribute to the movie Superman 2, which has Perry talking about Zod, Ursa, and Non just before they attack the Daily Planet.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of Superman 2 vibes from this episode as well.
Yeah, there you go. And when aired on Toon Disney, Jax Ur's order for Mala to crush his skull while holding Superman down was edited out. Oh, okay.
Oh my god, censorship!
Yeah, exactly. The music played during Superman's brief battle with the mysterious creature in part 1 would later be remixed and used for the battle against Felix Faust in Paradise Lost. That makes sense. That's fine.
Well, that's cool.
But all in all, but how about so we also had Ron Perlman as Jax Ur. So Hellboy was technically fighting Superman in this.
I noticed that, and I was very happy.
Yes, exactly. I love how you had Clancy Brown, you had Lex Luthor going, another Kryptonian. They're gonna breed a whole army of Kryptonians and then take over. I love that. That was great. So
Yeah.
Nick, how do you rate this episode?
I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. Me? Yeah, I give it about the same because it's fun. Despite that, and the Wonder Woman thing doesn't I'm not going to take off points for the Wonder Woman thing because I'm approaching this in a vacuum, because obviously it's easy to say I take off points because Wonder Woman didn't exist yet, but at the time they didn't like establish a Wonder Woman in there, so she could have, so I'm not going to take off points for that.
Yeah.
Dave says, I wonder if there was an embargo because a Superman movie was in production at this time and they might have wanted to bring back Zod in a sequel.
I don't think a Superman movie was in production. I think, if we're going, I think it's like, what year did this come out? Like 92, 93?
This came out in 1997. You're about 5 years off.
Oh, so this episode came out in 97, he said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then maybe, but because in 97 they were producing Superman Lives. Superman Lives was in production in 97, if I remember.
But correctly. I don't think Zod was going to be in that movie, so that
No, it was actually going to be Brainiac. Brainiac was going to be the villain.
Yeah. But all in all, pretty dope episode. So let's transition to our general discussion for the episode. So first off, I want to say this. So you guys know I'm a big Halo fan, and we got some Halo news finally, and positive Halo news. So first off, background. So Nick, you've heard me go on rants about 343 Industries, right?
Yeah, like all the time, but yeah.
Well, in the latest move, they're dropping the 343 Industries name and calling themselves Halo Studios, which, okay, but I get the feeling that they decided to drop 343 because despite all the good that the new management has done, they cannot shake the stigma that comes from 343 Industries.
Yeah, my problem with this is, even though it's new management, it's essentially the same company as before, just a different name. So it doesn't really change anything. Like if they'd like literally just like broken down the company and like restarted it and like restaffed it from there, then okay, maybe. But this is essentially 343 with a different coat of paint.
I will say though, the guy in charge of the studio is Peter Hines. He's the one that basically rebuilt the Master Chief Collection and made it viable. So there is that positiveness, but they also announced that, so part of the reason why Halo Infinite launched a buggy mess is because they tried to create their own game engine called the Slipspace engine, which the problem with the Slipspace engine is it was so unstable that if they fixed one thing, 10 more things would be broken in the game. That's why it took them so long to get content out. So they announced today that Halo is going to Unreal Engine, and they released some screenshots of a research project they're doing. So this is basically what it looks like.
I will say, probably for the best that they're going to Unreal Engine 5 because they've already proven they can't create their own engine.
Yeah.
And if they're going to use another engine, I will say this though, Halo would look amazing in Frostbite.
That's true. But here's the other advantage that comes from
Well, that's
Unreal.
EA.
Here's the good part about going to Unreal. It's so common as like people know how to use it that it's really easy to onboard people because you can just say you have to know Unreal in order to work here. Okay, you're good. Let's do this.
Yeah. CD Projekt actually did the same thing because they had been using their Red engine for the past few games. They've been buggy messes, and for all their products going forward, they're switching to Unreal. And as much as I would like more game engines, if you can't create your own game engine, use someone else's. And Unreal Engine 5 is arguably a really great piece of kit. So I'm not gonna knock them for using what is probably the industry standard game engine.
Yeah, and what's cool about it is that they're also starting to hire people, and that's big because here's the thing. 343 at the time, I'm going to call them 343 for right now, was under hiring freeze. So that's why most of the development work for Halo Infinite was done via contractors that would like work for like a couple of months and then leave. And then obviously that's no way to run a studio and they couldn't hire people. Now they're hiring people.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, honestly, if I were them, I'd kind of put out like a smaller game to kind of show like, hey, we're going in the right direction. Like, not do like a big Halo game, but at least do like a smaller kind of game to just kind of like to show people like, hey, we're doing the right thing. Kind of like, okay, ooh, I like this. Let's see what they do with the big game. You know.
Yeah, we will. I mean, the potential is there, and you know what? I think that they could definitely. Let me put it this way. This is the most positive news we've gotten about Halo for like ever since Infinite came out. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I have some ideas.
Yeah,
I think they should do a multiplayer only like small game, like kind of like a Unreal Tournament, but with Halo. Call it like Halo Tournament or whatever. But just like a small multiplayer focused game, just to kind of like show like, okay, we can do this kind of thing. Like just make some maps.
The rumor is that they're developing a what's the word? A battle royale for Halo. So
I mean that could work. Because the thing is, if they do another Halo game, it's going to be 5 years before we see it. And I don't think they should wait that long to do like their next big Halo game. They need something smaller to show like, okay, this is actually kind of good, and be like,
right,
okay.
Dave says plot twist. It's a spin-off game based on the show, and MC doesn't wear his helmet the entire game. If they say that, I will scream. All right, so Cameron says
no. And there's a cosmetic you can buy that gives Master Chief green leather ashless chaps. And it's called the Master Chief's armor.
Yeah, Cameron says, so did they make these two because they couldn't use Zod and Ursa and Fiora? They didn't make the characters, they just used them. So probably that's what I would assume, because it's really weird that they gave other characters other origins. But here's the thing, the DCAU does that a lot. So it's not anything new. Yeah, a lot of people forgot Halo exists. So, and that's the problem, because what people forget is that Halo is Microsoft's like Mario Brothers. Like, this is the premier franchise of Xbox, and if you screw this up, you are screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. But anyway, so what other questions do you guys have in terms of like anything you guys want to talk about?
All right, you need to highlight Dave's comment.
Master Chief and Dales. Yes. That's good. That's good.
Master Chief, you mind telling what you're doing with those tassels?
Finishing this fight. Honestly, the only way people remember Halo is from Red versus Blue. To a degree, yeah. I mean, that was probably a lot of people's intro to Halo.
I don't know, because like because like I feel like Red and Blue had a lot of hype in like the 360 days, but even though it went on for like a long while, I don't really see people talking about it beyond the Blood Gulch days.
Yeah, because the problem with Red versus Blue is that at a certain point it stopped being Red versus Blue and started being this really elaborate like spy show, and I'm like, that's cool, but then it like exploded. Particularly, I think the obviously the point of departure was when Monty Ohm died, and then they just went downhill from there.
Yeah, because you got to remember, Red and Blue was originally a machinima. They did the in-game assets, and then they went to animation, and they kind of had a bit of a second life with Monty Oom. But then after he died, obviously everything else went to crap.
Yeah, so it's interesting how that lines up, but I would argue that I say this every time. This is the opportunity for Microsoft to pull us around, because here's the thing: Halo is one of those games where people were buying original Xboxes just to play Halo. That's the thing.
They still are. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you've like looked into like all the efforts of getting like a fan version of Xbox Live up and running. It's huge.
Oh, the original Xbox Live? Yeah, it's definitely going.
Yeah, like they've got like a private server kind of version of it going. And people are playing Halo 2 on it, and they're having a blast.
Yeah. Honestly, unless Microsoft rights the ship, I could see Halo becoming a dormant franchise by the next decade. This is probably what that is, Dave, though. What it probably is that Microsoft looked at what's going on with 343 and was like, okay, you know what? There needs to be a change. So that's like the name change, the engine change. So they're like, okay, you know what? Let's right the ship. Honestly, can Microsoft make a comeback? Because unless you're Nintendo and Sega, those whose other games are you buying? Well, Sony, because Spider-Man and God of War and stuff.
Well, let me just kind of be honest with you.
Yeah.
And Jared is back. I guarantee you back up. I'll back up with Jared. Jared will back up what I'm about to say. If Microsoft actually releases a good Halo game, the Halo fans will come back.
Oh yeah, 110%.
And Halo fans are nothing if not passionate about their favorite franchise. Like, Halo fans are a very special bunch. They are very passionate.
If you release a game that's evocative of the original trilogy, and you take a little bit of it and then build on it, you respect the lore, you like have solid campaign and multiplayer, then you can turn this around and essentially right the ship. This is actually pretty easy to do.
Also, my prediction: they're going to add Halo 4 and 5 to the MCC.
They already have Halo 4.
Well, they're going to add Halo 5 to the MCC.
Honestly, I don't see them doing that. Here's why. I think that part of the change is they want to distance themselves from those two games particularly, because those were the ones that were ravaged by the fan base, particularly 5. So I really think that what they'll probably do is like forget those games ever existed.
Yeah, I mean, a Halo Battle Royale is not ideal, but it could be that small game that at least kind of keeps the torch alight. Because the thing is, if they don't release anything until their big game 5 years from now, that is going to do very big harm to the brand. You need something to at least keep the flame alive. And, hell, do Halo Kart.
Yeah, Halo, actually, with all the vehicles, that would actually work very well for Halo.
I mean, they've added Warthogs to Forza Horizon.
And that was actually really cool. I played that DLC. It's really dope. But you could even do, and what they should do, I've always felt Microsoft should take like all of their like big characters and make a Smash Bros game of it. So you could have like, but the problem is, what other like big characters does Microsoft have?
Oh, the other thing with Halo, I actually saw this, is they added a third-person mode to Halo, and now
they're adding that. That's cool.
I don't know. It just makes it look like like generic. It looks just generic shooter number 3.
No, but the point is like they're adding it as an option. They're not replacing it. They're saying if you want to play third person, because some people like that, you can. It's not like you. It'd be one thing if they were taking away the first person, saying now you're only playing this third person. By the way, Dave the Impaler says it feels like Halo was on the verge of becoming something much bigger, but never capitalized on that potential. Yeah, it was everywhere for a while. Would have been cool if Peter Jackson's Halo happened. But the rumor is that Christopher Nolan wants to get involved with the Halo show.
Can we just like have him do a movie? Have
him do a Halo movie? Because reportedly he's a big fan, and let me put it this way: Interstellar, but Halo, yes.
Because here's the thing: Halo 3 made more money than Spider-Man 3. Like Halo 3 was it was arguably the peak of the franchise commercially.
Yes, it was.
And like around the time of Halo 3, Halo was about as big as Star Wars, kind of.
Yeah.
And Halo could have been the modern day Star Wars. But the problem is, after Bungie left, they dropped the ball so freaking hard. Like I remember when Halo 4 came out, they're like, oh, it's just Call of Duty now.
Yeah, the multiplayer did like horrible in doing that. Now we have loadouts. Now you have kill streaks, and I'm like, so you basically just made Call of Duty.
And apparently they tweaked the controls to make them closer to Call of Duty as well. Like I remember.
Yeah, the default control scheme is pretty much Call of Duty. And then in Halo 5, they basically said they were chasing the esports crowd because they said Halo is more of a competitive game than a casual game. And I'm like, Couch Co-op would like to speak to you. That was the other problem. They kept taking away things people like. It's like they were like, well, we took away split screen co-op because it would interfere with like the fidelity of the environments we were creating. And I'm like, then take that hit.
Dave, Spider-Man 3 might have never had its own Mountain Dew flavor, but at least Mountain Dew has a Dorito, has a Pope. His name is Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, exactly. But Microsoft probably wants that would be hilarious if Master Chief is in Smash Bros. So we could have Chief versus Mario.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing this invitation? Sir, smashing.
Yes, exactly.
No, I gotta do this right. Sir, settling it in Smash.
Oh, there you go. But so all in all, I think the future for Halo is pretty good. So what other questions do you guys have for us? It can be gaming related. It can be comic book related. It can be movies.
Okay, what if they did another Halo DLC and they actually added a track, like a racing track that was the Warthog run?
Well, it's easy. You can do that. It's called Forge. People have made that. People made a battle royale game in Halo Infinite in the Forge mode. Like
there's so much stuff people have done with Forge.
So 343 made it so you can actually spawn in like Covenant enemies. So people have been making their own campaigns. You give the Halo community the tools, they will practically make another Halo game for you.
Yeah.
That's all you need, and that's one of the best parts about it. But I feel like what Halo needs is, and actually, you know what, Dave has a good point. It needs a movie or a good TV show to get the hype around it. Because if you create a massive show or a movie that makes like, maybe it can make Marvel money, but let's assume it doesn't, but makes almost Marvel money, then you really get Halo in the minds of people, and then you can start the rebuilding process.
Yeah, I think the idea of a show is kind of burnt, scorched earth right now because the Paramount show did so much damage. I think the only way to do it is a big movie by a big name director, like let's say a Halo movie by Christopher Nolan. That would get butts in seats because you get the Nolan fans; they'll see anything he puts out. But Nolan still also has your interest from the general community because Christopher Nolan doing a Halo movie is like it's like, oh, like when you hear those two words, like Christopher Nolan, Halo, think, oh, that sounds really good. Like that's just an idea that instantly clicks in most people's heads.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone that's seen Interstellar knows basically what the visuals would be like for the Halo show, and I'm like, hell yes. Can you imagine he makes a practical energy sword?
Or what if they like reproduce the Master Chief? You want to tell me what you're doing? But they had Steve Downes play the officer.
Or wait, you know who could play? Imagine if, because he's played practically every icon, Henry Cavill is cast as Master Chief and Gal Gadot as Cortana.
Or they cast Carl Urban as Master Chief.
They have one moment when Chief goes, "I am the law."
And they have this moment where Chief, do you ever take your helmet off? He's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, nope. She goes, Microsoft owns Banjo-Kazooie and Minecraft. They're in Smash Bros. I bet that they will push Master Chief in the next game. It could be. Can we just say the Minecraft movie looks horrible?
Oh God, it looks like a bad Smosh parody.
Why did you? Because here's the thing. Just make it an animated movie with the characters as block people.
The movie is already 90% animated. Like everything but the actors are animated. Just go the other. Just push the final 10%. Do it animated.
Ooh.
Like, come on, guys.
Can you imagine Dune but Halo?
You know, we got robbed because I wish we could have gotten Neil Blomkamp's Halo.
Yeah, I know, because it would be like those old Halo live action trailers for like Halo 3 would be like that. But
you know that District 12 was his Halo movie.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I know. And when I see it, I'm like, the bones are there, the visuals are there, and yes, please do that. That would be amazing.
But yeah, Denis Villeneuve could create a good Halo movie. Ana de Armas as Cortana.
She could play Miranda Keys.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nick has no idea who I'm talking about, but
I have no clue whatsoever.
Well, wait, you played Halo 1, right?
A little bit of it.
Oh wait, you didn't play Halo 2 yet, so okay, yeah.
I really do need to do a playthrough of Halo 1 where you just critique everything I do.
Well, and you know what they could just do? They literally could just take Keith David and just say he's voice the Arbiter again. it's a voice character anyway.
Yeah. Wait, no, the Arbiter is going to be voiced by Sam Jackson.
That would be amazing. Because I'm here to talk to you about the Sangheili initiative.
We need to get this mother effing Covenant off this mother effing dropship.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what? Here's who Samuel Jackson plays. Sergeant Major Avery Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, he because that you could do that. He would be perfect as.
You know, I wish they had made this in the 2000s because Carl Weathers was like, I'm sorry, he would have been perfect for Major Johnson.
Yeah, I still want Blomkamp's Alien 5. Yeah, that would have been dope from the concept art that we saw. Yeah.
But Jared, do you agree with me? Like, if they're doing this in 2000s, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed.
I don't think so. Here's why. Because in order to do Johnson, Johnson has to be like that. Honestly, it would be Samuel Jackson because he gets that whole like swagger and stuff that Johnson has a little more closely to the game.
You've never watched the Rocky movie.
I have. I have. The Wachowskis could do Halo.
Maybe in the 2000s, maybe, but nowadays, not.
Yeah, exactly. They would make him more like that fourth Matrix movie that Nick had a better version of.
They would hear the Master Cheeks meme and run with it.
Yeah, but all in all, I think that could be. It's going to be really interesting to see where Halo goes with the thing. And yeah, Nick, that would be kind of fun for a playthrough to do Halo 1.
Yeah, I'll consider it. I'll have to coordinate with you.
But anyway, I think unless you guys have any questions, we can start to wrap up. Nick, do you have anything you want to promote?
Yes, I do. Do you have the link already?
No, I think just go ahead and drop in the private chat.
All right, I got you, brother. So, if you haven't yet checked it out, I am currently doing the Kickstarter for Screecher, and it's doing exceptionally well right now. It's in the chat.
Yeah, I got it. I'm sharing right now.
Yes, as this there you go. And as you can see, we are $8 from 700. Oh my god, you guys are amazing. So if you guys could, if you haven't backed it already, please do so. Tomorrow, me and Jared on Comics Watch, we're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 1, the recent version. That's going to be pretty freaking sweet. Tuesday, we'll have episode 3 of Chrono Trigger. Friday, on the Frenzy, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Then Saturday, we'll be continuing Bioshock.
Dave brings up an excellent point. If Carl Urban were cast as Master Chief, he would have portrayed both Doom Guy and Master Chief.
Oh.
He would have lived because he was basically playing Doom Guy in the Doom movie. As for me...
He was a Doom Guy.
Yeah, he was. So as for me, yeah, I'll be hanging out on Nick's channel. Britt and I had a good live stream of Super Wonder Legacy where we talked about the backgrounds of Superman and Wonder Woman and how they make them even more compatible. This week, we'll be doing an episode talking about the similarities between Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship and that of Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris. So be on the lookout for that. As for movie night, we're going to be doing Wonder Woman 1984. So be on the lookout for that cringe. And any of the usual content. So as for some other, so this week is going to be really like in and out because of my my day job is picking up again this week. But I'll try and put out content as much as I can. But anyway, stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane and apparently creates anachronisms. She belongs to General Zod. Or Jax in this case. Zoe is the Max about for life. I'll see you later.